My name is Duffy, and today I'm going to share my curatorial projects in China and also take Chinese contemporary art as my fieldwork to share my thoughts from some exhibition that I have been involved in past few years. Before that, let me introduce myself shortly. So I originally from Wuhan, China, and I moved from Beijing to New York City early this year to continue studying my master's degree. So now I'm also a graduate student studying anthropology and Hunter, which is Manhattan Upper East Side. And I used to work at Mada Span, which is an architecture company, and around 1 year. After that, I jumped to the Art Gallery as a gallery assistant for 2 years. And then it's UCCA, Woodland Center for Contemporary Art. It's a contemporary art museum in Beijing. And in UCCA exhibition department as a senior exhibition coordinator for more than 3 years. And I departed from UCCA in 2021. And since then, I have been working as an independent curator in Beijing. And while I also took a curatorial assistant position to work with another famous Chinese curator, his name is Cui Can, last year, and he cooperates with so many important Chinese artists, such as Ai Weiwei and Sun Yuanpengyu, Chen Danqing, a lot, yeah. And now back to my curatorial project. Here are the exhibitions that I created in the past few years. Basically, almost all my projects are out of my full-time job. So, but here today I will talk about 3 group shows. First is 2019 research-based curatorial project shortlist exhibition. Rethinking Ethnography as a methodology for art. And the second one is the node of food. The third one is passing between reality and falsehood. Yeah. And my first curatorial, which is 2019 research-based curatorial project, Open Call, organized by OCAT Institute in Beijing. I titled Rethink Ethnography as Methodology for Art for my show, which you can tell from the exhibition title that this show is focused on ethnography artwork by artists. And the title for this exhibition comes from when I work at the gallery, that I realized people always concentrate on the exhibition, but ignore that the fact artists' work never stops. And with this perspective, it's not only displaying final artwork by artists, but also present the records of artists' creative process, such as field notes, sketch, map, drawing, writing, reference photos, and so on. And on the other hand, the exhibition was inspired by art critic Howard Foster's article, The Artist as Ethnographer, which published in 1995. And Howard critiques artists working as anthropologists for their artwork. And until today, this paper continues discussed in contemporary art and anthropology. And in this exhibition, I invite 4 young artists, Arita Guo, Chin, Okui Lala, and Sovik Sooth. And first, I will talk about Arita Guo. So she born in Beita and grew up in Qingdao and Shandong province of China. After high school, she went to St. Petersburg to study major in oil painting and the Royal Academy of Fine Arts in Russia. After that, she moved to London to continue study at UAL, and also she studied for her PhD in material and visual culture anthropology at UCL. which Arita Guo is the only artist in this show who really studied anthropology. And due to her long urban change and multicultural impact, so as well as create a gap between her and her parents. In her video, she took her family as the fieldwork, observed her parents' lifestyle, interviewed them, and thought about the gap between the two generations in China. And the second one is Zhi, and he is the artist, Taipei born and now based in Berlin. And I got the permission from him that I can screen like a few of his work.
那一天，他穿了件深色西装，缓缓地走上讲台，拿起麦克风，不疾不徐，定神注视着观众。即便整个讲堂内坐满约800名学生，台下依然鸦雀无声。毕竟，这是一个十分特殊的时刻。当总统先生大老远从法国跑来瓦加杜古大学演讲，他究竟会说什么呢？他究竟想说什么呢？结果是令人振奋的。总统马克宏宣告，自2017年起，他将会在接下来5年归还法国非法拥有的非洲文化遗产，也就是说，送还那些法国机构自殖民时期所收藏的有问题的非洲雕塑和艺术品。当然，一个如此庞大的命题是很难在2小时演说内解释清楚的。例如，在如何以及何时归还的执行上，仍有许多细节有待厘清。即便如此，像这样的宣告，仍多少展示了北邻国家进一步去殖民化的过程。不过，话说回来，为什么这些雕塑是有问题的呢？还有，这些非洲的文化遗产是如何被关进这些外国博物馆的玻璃柜内呢？
自从成为艺术出版刊物的记者后，寻找艺术相关的场景和历史已经成为我的反射动作。
So I'm gonna continue as his work as background. And so this work is called The Sculpture, shows his study of the collection about 5,000 African artwork donated to the National Museum of China by the collector Mr. Xie, all of which were collected at the end of 20th century. So in his video, he dressed like angels Malu standing next to his imaginary museum. Through this image to explore the regional's ideology on the globalization. I mean, Zhi Ying is typically work as an ethnographer artist. He was doing like long-term projects in Africa, and frequently he traveled between Berlin and Africa. And yeah, so I'll stop at here and then continue to the next artist. And the third one is Solveig Zeus. So she is an American independent filmmaker, and her work AAA Cargo is a semi-fictional documentary. And she used to live in Dongguan, Dongguan, China, with her parents when she was a child in later 20th century. So after that, she returned to China, and then she realized the rapid economic transformation in China. So she followed the road lines, the Belt and Road Economy Policy, and filmed a video about cargo development in China. And the the last one is a Malaysia-born artist, Okui Lala. So she's a fourth-generation Chinese of the early Fujianese who migrate to Southeast Asian. In her video, so she sung and chat with her mother in four different languages: Mandarin, Hokkien, Malaysia, and English. So she is reflect the multi-language lessons of migrant Chinese living in different culture. I mean, we can obtain some keywords from those artworks, such as like multiculturalism, capitalism, colonialism, economic, and multilingualism. Like as my major, participants' observation and experience interview is like four ways that working way for anthropologists. And for anthropologists, all about human experience. And this exhibition, which reflect my interest in interdisciplinary and research-based artwork in the early time. So here also I show some like installation view, which you can tell in the middle is the artwork, and others there are some like notes, drawing, map, and writing for the artist. And the second one, the show titled The Knot of Food, was the exhibition that I created last summer in Beijing. This shows talking in a Chinese local context, express the racial function of food, the relationship between food and the body, and also food of migration, and the artists use tea and wine as the creative elements. I mean, food is another like big topic, long-term discussed in anthropology majors. And the first one is Wangtuo's video artwork. It's called Meditation on Disappointing Reading. It's a ritual of invocation. It's performed with food. And this video was inspired by a fiction, Three Daughters of Madame Liang, by American writer Pearl Bark in 1969. We can tell, food in a long history relate to rituals both in East and West country. And then this has been a long-standing topics in the of Song Hongquan, and in this time he employed the language of painting and considered relationship with food and body. And the third artist is Chen Tingting. She incorporated the history of trade and exchanging between the East and the West in her nomadic creations, presenting a fusion of exotic culture and nature. Based on the recording, the common pearl is one kind of pear that comes from United Kingdom and was imported to China around 1871. You can tell they have different pear. Not only pear, there are a lot of fruits that it's not like today, like coffee is originally from North Africa, and corn is come from Mexico. But now we can get those foods in pretty much all countries. And the third, and then is Liangquan. So, the culture of tea and wine subjects help shape the history and identity of China. Liang Quan utilized tea in his painting, composing painting that capture the spirit of contemporary tea culture. So he used like the sting of tea to join. And the last artist, Peter Chen. So based on these topics in Chinese content, but Peter Chen is the only artist. He's not Chinese. He comes from Germany, and he used the traditional fermentation progress and the modern research as an entry point to reshape Carol winemaking practice. Those creations which contemplate subjects such as food, racial bodies, immigration, contemporary tea, and wine practice. And the last project, which is not related to anthropology, but rather to a prominent debate topic of the everyday, passing between reality and falsehood. And in this exhibition, I invite some artists who are working through the media of video, installation, painting, and sculpture, with their own reflections on the topic of daily life. As I mentioned, the exhibition focuses on everyday, which is kind of a timeless topics that always discussed no matter what time is right now, such as like ancient literature or modern video game, like Animal Crossing, and all those are inspired by the never-end everyday life. And first one is Chen Pa-an, and he used to a graphic designer. So he put his past experience into his work, collecting advertising image and creating work that reflect on the meaning of artificial landscape that are different from the real views. And the second one, Doran Chen, and this work is derived from her Half Dream project. In this work, so we collect the conversation with her and her friends about recover the cocktail she dreamed in her dream, and which she connect the reality with the feeling of the reality and the dream. And Rita Guo, which I also mentioned her in my period, the first exhibition. And here is her joy painting artwork. And the body and roots is kind of a long-term topic in her painting. And in here, he like thorough treatment of the body and roots can give the view and the same feeling of the, even though it can give the same feeling of the reality. And feelings work depict her long-time imagination of the concept of the door. Like Alice in Wonderland, after the door has a physical image, the world behind the door is even more endless imagined. So Cao Shu, this is an interactive installation, which we create like the middle class working scenes with flashing light, you can tell. But I don't know what's the problem with the sound, but they are supposed the sound you can hear of typing and airplay, which has inspired us to reflect on our vigilant society. And then now I will share these 3 exhibitions, and I will present to you the landscape of the Chinese contemporary art. And the first one, Xubing. Xubing, this show is the first big exhibition after I joined to UCCA. I mean, if we talk about 1805 New Wave movement, then we definitely will talk about him. And this exhibition is curated by Feng Boyi and Phil Tenari. So here is one of his work, Art for the People, and the image from right side, this side, is the installation view in UCCA, and the second one, the other one is the installation view of MoMA from Lake Century. Those are tobacco. Which is true.
然后依照第一件作品呢，可能就是也不仅是许冰的这个艺术原本的一个开始，也是整个中国当代艺术史一个非常著名的一个杰作，也就是《天书》。《天书》这件作品在拥抱这个空间对于世界的意义是非常的大，因为我们开馆的时候，2007年接到策划的这个把握新潮中国当代艺术诞生的一个展览里面，其实这个作品也是挂在了同样的位置。这个展览叫“指定思想与方法”，我们想强调是这个艺术家的观念思维，以及把这些观念转换成艺术作品的方法，这两个之间的一个关系。所以我们从他最早的还没有高中毕业的一个国宝茶林街，一直到去年刚刚完成的《星星之眼》，其实是涵盖了4型的创作。在我们的这个区域里面的话，其实呢，从一入口的这个地方，大家一下就进入到了他在出国之前的状态，像《岁雨集》、像《复读》系列，包括到接触鬼打墙。这种面貌，当我们一跨过这个中轴以后，要看到这一边的时候，会发现面貌一下就变了。这个反差是很有意思的。从这个时候，他也开始面对文化的冲突。所以像APC 啊，早期的文字实验啊，包括一些转化，其实都是语言障碍带来的这样的一个启发。所以这个文化冲突和早期在国内还是很不一样的。我相信新人观众会在这个感觉里面感受很多，并且就是一顺的就下来，就可以看到这一股脑的在做到现在。但是当做到这个后面的时候，发现包括比如整个背后的故事，一下就进入到了一个回国后的一个面对新的问题。
他这个40多年的这种创作啊，就是虽然有很多变化，但是呢，就是他一直跟这个时代，跟这个艺术本身，我觉得一直在思考研究。他的创作更多的是带有研究性，他不是偶发的，或者说不是一时感性的，其实是一个很理性的一个人。但是呢，他的作品呢又跟这个时代的这种脉搏发展，我觉得又密切相关。而且他也特别强调，就是说。你对这个社会进程的敏感，导致你在方法论上有这种不断改变。那么包括他说到这个，你生活在哪儿，就会有问题，有问题呢，其实也会有意义。
因为我们对徐老师还是挺了解的，他是一个特别细腻的一个人，所以我们在做的时候，其实就真的是在感受这个东西。有一次当地艺术中心的展，我看过很多，这个展从布展来说的话，就已经是非常用心。
所以作为主讲的演员，心里头也非常高兴，就是刘仁思在今年就有一个重量级的大展出现。
其实中心的希望整个展览最后对外界的影响能够超出艺术圈本身的范围。我们深信在尤伦斯在798这样的一个地区是有可能做到这样的影响力的。未来这个行业，这个圈子怎么发展，怎么运作，我觉得很大程度上就看我们这几年怎么做事儿。其实就是这样，所有人怎么做事儿，思想与方法也许就是这样。
这种展览对我个人来说，其实给我提供了一个反思的一个机会和一个空间吧。我会开始的意识到，把这些东西放在一起，回过头来看，
Also, the 1980s in China represent a kind of exposed answer to the cultural revolution of 1980s and 70s, when China was not only cut off from the rest of the world, but was also forced to dissolve and renounce our own culture. And the result with exposed reaction was 85 new wave movement, and then Chinese artists reinvent a new culture. As you can tell, Xu Bing, he graduated from China Central Academy of Fine Art, and this artwork, Book from the Sky, is his final artwork when he graduated from CAFA. And then when in 1990s, he moved from Beijing to New York and lived in East Village, and which is kind of like a new world for him. And there are also, in this exhibition, there are some artworks that he created in New York, like Art for the People, you can tell, and tobacco projects, well, does itself collect, and also the new workbook from the grant. And then the second exhibition, social guidance, I also will, like the Paris, I will share the video first. So this is the first McDonald's in China.
面对政府要做出新的应对和反应，这就形成了后来的所做的艺术行为、艺术政策。
比利时总统活动民法的时候，恰好在场，那时候我也用摄像机记录，他们很有记忆，而且呢，他们也很敏感，因为时代变了，从一个理想主义时代进入消费主义。
当艺术很难和生活划分界限，同时这些前面艺术家又找不到哪里是前面的时候，有一个方向确定，那是后面就是历史。我们需要回过头在过去的历史中找到一种有序性，然后我们才可能讨论现在，整理现在，然后再讨论未来。
那我记得好像应该是99年、2000年左右吧。当时的前辈艺术进入了商品的时候，才把前辈艺术这个概念转换成常态艺术这个。所以放到今天，我们也可以讨论这个概念的转换的时候，它其实也带着这一批先锋艺术家们、前辈艺术家们是怎么样在当时的环境里面做到这么前面。
because this exhibition they divide to like two parts, and here is the second video for the second part.
人间指南呢，就是上集和下集在整个展览的梳理里面呢，其实有一个比较清晰的划分。人间指南的下集其实更强调就是90年代这些艺术家在实验和探索当中呈现出的多样性。所以说，我们是把90年代当成一个课题来讨论。
90年代是我们这一代人真正感到消费时代的一种真正的体验的开始。
当时的这个当代艺术叫做前卫艺术、先锋艺术，或者叫实验艺术，
利用各种的艺术形式或者艺术空间在做作品。
所以这个展览我觉得挺好，就是展示了90年代这样一种艺术的多面向的这种状态，非常好，很少有这样的展览被这样。
人间指南的下集呢，一共是8个艺术家和1个艺术项目，它所涵盖的差不多几十位艺术家，更全面地体现出90年代的那些艺术家他们在半地下的状态里面他们是怎么创作的。
我回顾了我这个90年代初作为一个导演，然后通过现在的一个视角去重新回溯那个年代和现在的这个现实的关系是怎么样的。
我希望用一种个人化的、个人的和身体的方式来代替那种建筑学学科的叫做制度化的建筑实验吧，构成一个批判性的吧。
这次不是我的作品参展，而是我在90年代和现代艺术中心的主任郭世瑞共同策划的一个野生艺术计划的一个文献呈现，叫做《野生1997年经阁史》。
这个作品的题目叫在中国的家里制造。当时城市发展很快，在这个变化中的景观这里面，什么事情在发生？
我这次作品简单说是25年前的老照片，谈的是关于女性自身的角色、独立性、自由一种关系和一种困惑吧。
胡同对我来说，我对它是比较有情感的，所以我就继续关注北京胡同的这种变迁。这是我作品当中一个比较早期的一个线索。
双飞是08年成立的，这些作品把我们日常的这些个生活放大化，然后夸张化，又很真实，但是又脱离现实，实际上就是一个回顾吧。
我觉得在今天呢，仍然还需要的是一种野生的一种状态。就是艺术呢，它有五花八门的各种各样的可能性。
通过这样的一个回溯，来看到过去和今天的这种联系，从不同的角度来探讨90年代这个课题。
Social guidance focus on the creative of the Chinese artists at the outset of the 90s, occurred as the economic reform initials in 1978, depends on the gardening the space. The title of the social guidance, 人间指南, take is from the fictional magazine at the center of the 1991 Chinese television comedy stories from the editor board in Chinese 编辑部的故事. The title may also give the understood as the refer to the desire for a new and durable system of value and tie of the constant change defined by the new economy and shared social standard and collective feeling of the anxiety and confusions. And so these two exhibitions, we can tell with kind of focus on Chinese contemporary in 1985 to 1990s. But also in social guidance, there are some artists, they create artwork after 2000s. And I think if you guys will interesting like early Chinese contemporary art, you can find more influence of the Guggenheim exhibition, Art and China after 1989, Theater of the War. Yeah. And then we will continue to the last exhibition I'm going to share, which is totally different with the previous two. And this connective generation, we electronic colors, internalizations, fashion, consumptions, science fiction, pulse, and the global identity of the post-19th generation, which this exhibition with more focus on the new generation of Chinese contemporary art, which is my generation. Yeah. Curator exhibition is curated by Cui Can. He's the one that I mentioned, used to work with a lot of important Chinese artists like Ai Weiwei. Yeah. And in this exhibition, there are like 14 artists and artist group. So you can tell this exhibition that's pretty much like each artist and each artist group, they have their own space. It's pretty much like a solo show in this group show. And the first is Slam Engines. So they are only like the artist group in these exhibitions. So they in their artwork, they saw like art is a corporation. They take art like a platform to show different artwork from different artists. And also Ma Hanlun is kind of new, fashion of photography. And Sun Yingtian. I think like those like young artists, you can tell from those installation view, they are totally different with the artists that I show, like relate to 1955 or 1990s. And those like new generation artists, they most like 18% of them, like they have like study abroad experience, like they study like in United States, New York, Chicago, and also study in France, Paris, in United Kingdom, London, and also like in Japan, Tokyo. And also they are totally different with like the Paris artists. They think about artists as their career when they still is a student, and they all of them like represent by the gallery in like young age, and even some of them they also cooperate with some like Western gallery, such as Liu Xin, and she represented by the Make Room, and also she solo shows at pioneer work in Brooklyn this year. And also Zhang Zipiao, so she also represents by Salon 94, and he has she solo show in New York in 2021 and also this year. And then like Vivian Jam, she based in London, and she also cooperates with Pierre Corres Gallery. And Sun Yingtian. So she also represents by the Esther Shipper Gallery, and she her work showing in this year Berlin Gallery Weekend. I mean, you can tell those artists is kind of like a new landscape of Chinese contemporary art. And here, I think those exhibitions that I share is only like part of Chinese contemporary, no matter it's my projects or those other exhibitions I show. So if you guys want to know more about that or discuss more about like new generation or anthropology, these topics, we can discuss after this program, yeah. Yeah, I think that is all my presentation, and thank you so much for coming today.
Anyone has any questions?
Well,
a question. You said that there is a big difference between the new generation and the generations that you showed before. The difference is basic on that they have a relationship with other country, or you can see also a big difference of the subjects that they deal with.
Of course, I mean, they have different, education background. I mean, the previous artists, like I cannot say like all of them like only live in China, because like Xu Bing, like he also lived in New York for a long time. And also artists like Ai Weiwei, now he also live in Europe, and also some of artists like live in France, Paris, yeah. But I can tell it's more like it's different. I mean, like new generation, like me, I also leave China in my young age. I live with, under globalization, really close with the internet. So which means like in young generation, we can get the news or anything very fast through the internet. Even though now I'm in New York, I still can get the information from China, and same, I think both people live in China, they also can get more news from New York or other country, other cities. So I think in that kind of point, we are different. Back to the 18th or 19th, we don't have internet. As in that period, like the information is very slow to, transport. Which I think in that kind of point is different, which is combined like globalization, internet, also education. So yeah, that's very complicated, in those Chinese, because I think the change of China is very fast from 1980s until now. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Or if not, then feel free to.
I have a question. Like, because you started with your anthropological interest, and then you showed specific works and that analyze specific phenomena. What would be the change in this, like from the anthropological viewpoint? What would be the change in these generations that you're seeing? Like, is there a change? Is it different phenomena?
You mean
different approach to phenomena? What changed? Like, you as a
I study anthropology, yeah.
Yeah, but how do you see like these different generations into approaching phenomena, or like, what is the difference? Is there a difference?
Yes, obviously there have like big gap between like two generation. I mean from the side of anthropology, it's pretty much like, as I say, anthropology is all about like human experience. I mean, even though we are all Chinese, but we group in different, like the background before the time, which is already changed a lot. Like I just mentioned, like the internet. I mean, if you back to the 80s or 90s, there are no internet in China. So we cannot get like the information, from the outside, which also like the politics in China, which in that period is very like, it's very close. So, and also like, I think globalization is not only changed China, it's kind of like changed the world. In the past, it's hard to, even though you fly from China to United States, kind of long journey. But now it's more like easier to, travel to any country around the world. So I think globalization is kind of like also economic, those kind of like keywords. It's not only about, Chinese culture, it's all about like around the world. Yeah.
But to me, like, it looks that this older generation is very consistent with like conceptual avant-garde trends. It looks like very, familiar when you look at it, because you keep mentioning it was closed,
Yeah. So
but I don't see it like visually. Like, to me, it doesn't look closed at all. For example.
Really?
It looks very. It looks like many of the works could be in books of conceptual art in the 80s, like without a problem.
But for them, like their work is all more close to China, like the landscape of China, also like relate to like economic, like the relationship between China with other countries, and also for that period, like those culture from Western country, it's pretty much like it's a shock for them. Even though like Xu Bing, when he moved to New York, the big issue for all the people who are not English native speaker, they have like language problem. And how can I understand you really, clearly, right? And language is a problem. For like the new generation, I think like a lot of like me, I study English when I before 10 years old. So which does it kind of like different. And also, I'm not sure that you can tell from those like new generation. Like Zhang Zipiao, if you don't know her, can you tell from her painting, she's Chinese? See, I think this is kind of like the gap. You cannot tell from those artists' artwork where he come from, and not only like her. Other artists, pretty much the same. The reason because they accept different education. They have like 4 years or more than that live in the other country experience can also change a person. Then you can tell, I think you can tell those artists totally different. If I didn't mention where they come from, it's hard to tell.
But you think that the previous generation, you can't tell, they obviously deal with social Like,
yes, but you can tell from their work like something like more about like China, like kind like street landscape, like economy, but they relate more about like the experience when they live in China. Yeah.
Any more questions? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.